My name's Chris, and I play drums in a band called HARMS.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about your personal history with addictions and mental health?
So my personal history with addiction and mental health comes from, a really early part of my life. I come from, there's a long family history of substance use issues and mental health concerns, mental health needs. So from a really early age, I was exposed to a lot of that. So that's this kind of field, this area is it hits really close to home for me.
Now, you were mentioning that you're a counselor. What got you into that? Is that your personal history that made you make that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned, like long family history with substance use issues, and my brother, my older brother, he struggled with heroin use, opioid use for many years. He ended up losing his life to it around 11 years now. So I had to grow up fast, experiencing that at like a really young age, and he played a very instrumental part in my life, kind of trying to get me into things outside of drugs, outside of alcohol. So he was very instrumental in getting me into music and kind of straight edge music and stuff like that. So he's played a seminal part in my life, and just kind of watching his struggles kind of made me choose a career path that to kind of like honor his life and kind of make sure his passing didn't go in vain.
Now, how did you cope after you got that news inside of yourself?
Yeah, so I luckily grew up with a very supportive family, a very loving and caring family, and we kind of had each other. In addition to that, I was going to support groups with my mom at a really young age. She tried to make sure that we had, my sister and I and other family members, we had the support that we needed to kind of cope with that pain, cope with that loss, cope with those issues. I pay homage to her as well for a lot of that. So family support was huge. External supports in the form of mutual aid, self-help support groups, like those are also huge for me.
How difficult it is when your personal passion meets the other passion in your life, music?
It's ironically there's a lot of overlap. Harm's Way, we're a band that kind of promotes a straight edge message, an anti-obsession sort of message, and we try to, live a positive life, promote positivity through our music, promote mental health awareness, promote, ways to process difficult thoughts, feelings, emotions, so have you. So there's actually a lot of overlap. Music is a big coping skill for me. Our band is a big coping skill for me, and in addition to that, we try to use it as a vehicle for people to also explore their own kind of internal needs.
How does your band and yourself deal with any triggers that might come with touring? Sleep deprivation, other drug use happening around you. How do you guys cope? How are you there for each other?
Yeah, because none of us really partake in kind of those forms of self-defeating behaviors. We really just kind of rely on each other. We lean on each other. We're all like really close friends. I'd say that we're all best friends, and we've been doing this for a long time. So in many ways we're like brothers. So we just really lean on one another. In addition to that, we're really big on kind of health and nutrition. We're going to the gym, we're hanging out, we're kind of just making the most out of our time together. So we never feel like alone in that respect. Even when, you are grinding, you are losing sleep, right? You are just kind of, like I said, grinding through each day. We kind of have each other, and it really helps us the most.
Tell me a little bit more about your self-care regimen, because that's one thing that I read a lot about, is how important it is to take care of yourself, and what an unselfish thing it is to take care of yourself. So what do you guys do when you need to do that for yourselves?
Yeah, I think self-care is huge. On tour, days off are huge. Catching up on sleep is huge. Having a good meal is huge. All of that, right? For me personally, I partake in a lot of reading, meditation, self-exploration, stuff like that. I need that stuff personally, or else I'll become a total mess. So I think self-care is huge, not only in the music, but also in my profession as a counselor in the mental health and kind of addiction area.
Now, what more, in your opinion, needs to be done in the music industry when it comes to addressing mental health issues, addiction, getting people to be okay speaking more publicly about whatever issue they might be dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, I think just an increase in awareness and just a general sense of just practicing vulnerability around it, right? There's a lot of, obviously, shame and stigma when it comes to addiction and mental health concerns, mental health needs, right? Especially in the whole music world, because in many ways it's like glorified, right? But I think, yeah, just practicing vulnerability and openness around what's going on internally with you is huge. Obviously, we've seen a lot of loss within the music community because of addiction, because of mental health problems, right? And it makes you wonder, like, okay, maybe if that person had someone else to open up with, maybe not only like within their tour, like their camp, their tour manager, or their whoever, but like to the public, right? So just a general openness, practicing vulnerability, reducing shame, reducing stigma. I think that could be huge, because on this tour alone, I mean, you have dozens and dozens and dozens of people who are struggling with those needs. And Warped Tour is a cool place, they're doing 12-step meetings in the evenings, they're doing meditation, there's some support here, and obviously there's folks like you guys trying to spread awareness, doing Narcan training, so just not trying to sweep it under the rug anymore, but just having an openness, being real about it. I think it's super important.
Now, my last one for you. So, obviously, I mean, people look up to you, right? You're a musician, you've got a lot of fans, you've got a lot of co-musicians. What message would you send to anyone watching this particular interview right now that they're struggling, they need help, and they don't know where to go? What would you say to them?
Just, you're not alone in your suffering. You're not alone in your pain. Life is filled with pain. Life is filled with suffering. And I think the more you open up about it, the more vulnerable, the more open you can get, you'll start to learn that you're not alone, right? And there is a place for you somewhere. It doesn't have to be a professional, right? It could be a peer, but it's just finding that person, finding that group that you can just kind of connect with to know that you're not alone in your misery.